right, I guess we're gonna do this. It's been a long time in the works for this. In fact, I saw a post on my timeline today talking about releasing this information, talking about this story, and you know, this is episode 52. This is the anniversary or the milestone, if you will, of the Uncaged podcast. And when I had announced that we were going to be doing this, I had made comments about this story was going to come out, and I just never, felt like it was the right time for this information to be talked about in this detail. You know, part of it's kind of like stuff that I want to get over, get past, and move on through, and learn from. But then, here we are, episode 52, and I said I was going to do it, so here we are. And so this will be a little bit of a journey in timeline perspective on like how did we end up where we are today, and like what does the future look like. So you might want to buckle up for this one. And some of you guys have been with us the whole way, like y'all actually saw all this unfold, and obviously you may not have known everything that was going on behind the scenes or whatever the case was, but like you knew something was up. And this channel has all been about like the journey to the top 1%, and how do we get there? It's by becoming 1% better daily. And it's like, I don't just fucking say that. Like, this is stuff that I truly believe, and that was the whole purpose of this channel, which is like to give an inside look on like what this looks like, the journey. Like, I'm obviously not there yet. A lot of people I know are. And so I've got to share some of those stories with the channel, but also like for me, it's more of like a digital journal, if you will. It's like me journaling this process that I'm on, this journey that I'm on, because like I know for a fact that I'm not going to stop till I get there. And so like I wanted to just kind of document the process, but through that, I said I was going to share this story, and it never was the right time. But episode 52, we're here, new milestone. We're about to, transition this channel into more about the members of Uncaged, because that's what it truly was supposed to be this entire time. And there's more on that to come. But, this picture that had popped up on my timeline is really a big pivotal moment in this journey that you've all seen, because I was, getting ready to announce that we were launching this channel on my birthday. And so a year later on my birthday, you're watching this episode, right? And so if we had to really peel back the layers of like what's gotten us to where we are, we got to travel back in time 2 years, because the picture that popped up in my timeline, it was a year ago. However, it was talking about the story from a year prior, because I guess that would have made it this story in 2023. So April 19th was my birthday. 6 days before my birthday, we hosted I rented a rooftop on the Strip in Las Vegas, brought in DJs, brought in photographers. My friends flew from all over the country, and we were going to celebrate my, book launch. And so what it was is we launched one foot in front of the other, April 13th of 2023. That was the 10-year anniversary of my motorcycle wreck. And we had put so much time and effort into this book launch. And I mean, dude, I'll be honest, there was so much stress and anxiety around this, because I can't tell you the amount of pressure that, well, not you, but I put on myself, having been being a marketer. Like, who is this motherfucker? How would I ever be hired again if I can't even market my own shit, right? That's kind of this everlasting like thought that was in my head over the entire year process it took me to write this book. I knew I was going to launch it on the decade anniversary of my wreck. If you've read the book, that's a huge piece of the book. So like I knew that it had to be then. So I had my deadline, and it was set in stone. and not just like set in stone and being done. Like it had to be written, it had to be published, it had to be edited, it had to be formatted, it had to get accepted, on KDP. We had to get it on Amazon without anyone else finding out about it because I didn't want an early release. Like there was so much value built up into the book launch. I mean, rented a house in Vegas. I had a bunch of the homies that flew in. We were all in and out. I was interviewing them all day on the book launch. We were keeping live updates. We had created this process up to the point of time I had never seen anyone else do. So even though it was hosted on Amazon, we ran everyone through our funnel so that you could sign up and get direct mail postcards sent to you, a bunch of follow-up, a bunch of digital assets that went along with the book. Like it was just this huge production, and there was so much pressure, and we fucking did it. I mean, come launch day, we took the whole studio, we took everything. We had my staff fly in to be engineers live the day of. I mean, literally fucking up, 25, 26 hours prior to launch to make sure that everything was in alignment. It was a lot. And then, book launch day came. I'm up at 6 a.m. getting prepped, getting ready. I think we went live with the book launch at 8 or 9. And because like I was really worried, being in Pacific Standard Time, I was like, fuck, that's like half the day's gone with the rest of the country. Didn't take that into consideration, did you, Zach? So anyways, we launched, and we went live across every platform, streaming on multiple different cameras and iPhones. And I'm getting live updates on orders so I can call people out, thank them by name. And dude, it was a huge success. We hit #1 new release in 44 minutes, which was mind blowing to me. We hit top 10 bestseller in 3 hours. We hit top 3 bestseller in 6 hours. And I was like, holy shit, we're going to do this. Like my entire goal was like, I want to hit #1 bestseller in 24 hours. And like, I told everyone, it's like, I'm going live and I'm not getting off live until we do it. Right. Like this was the mission. And there was tons of pressure. Like I said, here I am, a marketer. And if I can't do this, then like, what the fuck? But not only that, like I was so confident that we were going to do this come hell or high water. Again, another reason for the part of the story that'll come out here in a second is like, there was no tons of help, tons of support, but there was no network that was like already like just like I wasn't, we'll have to get into that part of the conversation here in a second to make it make sense. But previously, like I thought I had this community that I was a part of that was going to help hit this number. And maybe that's part of the marketing strategy. Maybe it's not, whatever. We could sit here and argue that all day long. But, right up towards the end of this, like that leg of that marketing strategy got ripped away from me. And so here I am with all this stuff plastered all over the world about how we're launching this book and we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to revolutionize the way people release books. And I had already rented the house in Las Vegas. I'd already rented the rooftop in Las Vegas. I'd already had flyers made up and promo for this book launch party that we were doing. And so I'd already kind of put my dick on the table saying that we were going to, like, I'm not going to stop till we hit #1 bestseller. So I had friends flying in from all over the country to come to this book launch party to celebrate this book, one foot in front of the other, hitting #1 bestseller. So just huge amounts of pressure. And so we were live all day, having a blast. We're, Jaybird's over cooking out. Lena, the girls are there. Heather and Lottie are there. All the girls are just massive support. And all the homies were in and out. Fucking Julian rolling up in Lamborghinis and letting me take Lottie for a ride. It was just such a fun day. And finally, with all this like pressure, we finally hit #3 bestseller in 6 hours. I was like, we're going to fucking do it. But now it was like there was more pressure than ever because like I knew that last hike was the hardest. And so, man, we kept trying. We kept going live. I think we were live a total of like, I don't know, 8-9 hours that day. And then finally in the 13th hour, we got it. Like I got sent a text. You're like, you fucking did it, bro. And it was a screenshot. And there we were, #1 bestseller. We had like 100 fucking reviews. It was just incredible, the outpouring of support that we had got. And I'm telling you, like, just from a wholesome standpoint, those moments in that house in Las Vegas, like at this point, you know, it's dark, stars are out, I'm around like close friends, family, and it was just such a special moment. And like, you know, from that point, the stress had subsided, and I was like, cool, now we celebrate, right? You know, because just a few days later, 2 days later, was the rooftop book launch party, and that's when everyone was like, you know, flying in and really coming to celebrate. And so we got to like really have some fun moments up there, just like sharing that victory, because I can't remember the exact number. I think it was like close to 1,300 books had sold by the book launch party, but I think it was like 1,013 hours or something like that, that helped us hit that #1 bestseller, you know, spot. And so book launch party goes up, and here I am in Vegas with my wife and daughter, with, you know, my best friends and family, and just so much fun. And I'm on a high horse because we did it, right? Like all odds were stacked against us. Again, I'll kind of talk about a little bit of that here in a second. We got rug pulled basically right before the event. Like just there was so much going on, and like I felt like my dream life was happening, because just a week prior to this book launch, I was actually 2 weeks prior. One of those weeks I was like in McKinney, Texas speaking. The next I was in Scottsdale, Arizona. Then we had the book launch. And then it leads me to the next piece of the puzzle, which I'm back in Dallas, or back in Texas, but I'm in Dallas this time speaking at an event. Officially, you know, like the first event after this book launch. My birthday, mind you, April 19th of 2023. And here I am, like I was like, you know, we're never going to peak this moment at the book launch. And then we had the book launch party. I was like, bro, we're never going to peak this. And then, you know, a week later or whatever, 6 days later, here we are at in Dallas about to speak. And so now it's like, cool, I'm speaking in Dallas. I'm supporting friends. I got a bunch of people that came to see me. And this is the first official speaking gig since the book hit #1 bestseller. So I'm like, all right, nothing's going to peak this. And there I am, and I get the news, and I was prior up to 45 minutes before me walking on stage in Dallas, I'm sitting at my booth behind my step and repeat on Zoom on my phone, watching my CEO fire half of my staff because they had been embezzling $20,000 a month from us. Now, for how long? Who knows? I don't really know. That team had been with us for 4 years. We had treated them well, paid them well. You know, obviously, like through growing pains and scaling pains, we had some issues along the way. Like fucking life wasn't perfect, but I cared about these motherfuckers, and I thought they cared about, you know, me or us or whatever the fuck, the future, the momentum that we were doing, the work that we were doing. And man, it was like super disheartening. And, you know, part of all this story really kind of coming out was because, you know, I'm in the gym this morning. I'm like going through my time hop, and a picture of this, this photo of me and Lottie, man, it popped up, and it was me kind of talking about the story and prefacing this Uncaged channel and stating that this story was going to come out. And here we are. It took me to episode 52 to even like get going on this story. And, you know, it was in that moment that I took that picture with Lottie after I'd spoke. I think Jaybird I can't remember who all was sitting at the table with me, but it was for sure me, Heather, and Lottie, of course, my ride or dies, and a couple of friends. And I was just happy. I was fulfilled. Like there was it's a weird emotion to express, but like I remember being like kind of taken back that I shouldn't have been more pissed. like 20 grand a month, like that's not a lot of money, but that ain't a little money. And of course, the more I dwelled on it, of course, the more mad I got, because this team had been with us for 4 years. How long had they been embezzling? And, obviously at the beginning of it, they couldn't have been embezzling 20 grand a month from us. It was just impossible. We weren't making that much at the time for it to go unnoticed. But you fast forward to where we were, we're making $250,000 a month. And I mean, even that, it kind of seems like, all of it was a learning lesson. Like, it was take extreme ownership in all of it. Like, it's some fuck, bro. Like, I remember getting frustrated with my CEO, but like, how did it go on this long without you noticing? Like, this is literally your job. And I was like, motherfucker, you might as well be talking to yourself, bro. Like, you holding the mirror up, because like they did it to you too, motherfucker. Like, so I had to really sit there and fall on my sword and be like, okay, what are these lessons here? Like, what am I looking up at God? Like, what is it you're trying to tell me? And so it was this strange moment, because I remember almost at peace with everything. And I was like, we're not going to take our eyes off the prize. We have so much momentum going, so much momentum. Like, we can't let this hold us back, not from what we're doing. And then it really hit. You get back home, reality sets back in. Your, routines start back up, because we were done being on the road for a while. Because at this point, we had been gone for 5 or 6 weeks on the road, different event, book launch, speaking, book launch party, another speaking gig. There's just so much going on. And it was officially 6 days after watching half my team get fired. So you have number one bestseller day on April 13th of 2023. April 19th, my fucking birthday, was firing half the team. And then so 6 days after that, so April 25th, so like we're coming up on that date. I'm in the gym doing my morning routine. It's, probably 6 in the morning. And I lied, because it would have been about 9 in the morning, because this was our typical standard meeting between my CEO and I. And he hit me with it. And he's like, hey, bro, like, this isn't what we wanted to do. Like, we're out. And I literally thought it was a joke, because this entire time I had gone through this process with him of explaining like what the vision was and how things were going to unfold. And so much to the point where like I tried to push him away. Like, I was like, listen, you don't want this position because of this. You don't want to do this because you want this. And like I told him all these reasons that, even though I didn't believe that to be true, for example, like I knew that he wanted to be the center of attention. Like, I knew that he wanted to be the face of the company. I knew that he wanted and needed validation for all the things that were going well. And that's a very strong dynamic to suppress, especially if you're building an organization where the other partner or the other person is getting that, And that was the thing, is like the entire time, the entire plan, the entire strategy, which just kind of makes me cringe when I say it now, but like I was the face of everything. Like, I was the one speaking on stages. I was the one writing books. I was the one on podcasts. I was the one hosting podcasts. I was the one putting out content. I was the one that was putting out trainings. I was the one that was putting out webinars. I was the one that was putting out, courses and shit like that. Like, it was me and my face in the studio. And I knew at the time, I thought I knew that was what like this relationship was going to look like. And, I was the visionary and he was the integrator. And so like, he was like, no, man, like, I'm with you. Like, this is what I want. And so here we are after the highest of the highs, and then just losing half the staff, because what happens when you fire or lose half the staff? That workload goes on the other half of the staff. Right. And, so here I am in the gym, 12 days from the best moment of my life outside of marrying Heather and Lottie of my career, losing everything, my entire staff of, 13, 14 people. And, I was told that this wasn't something that they wanted to do. They didn't want to, manage a marketing agency. They wanted to go back to development stuff, which 90% of our work was development. So, all of the excuses and the reasons for the collapse, I was really like questioning the true authenticity of like what was being said, especially because I thought, mind you, that I had set the proper expectations for everything that was going on, and that was it. And this one was like one of the final nails in the coffin, because, mind you, that story I just told you about 6 days earlier when half my team, that was the second time I've been burned. So this would have been, strike number 3 in a 3, 4, 5 year period at the time, with people that I brought in, trained up, helped along the way, and gotten not left with nothing, but I got, hurt pretty bad over this. So they end up deciding they're out. Well, here I am now, already had to figure out what to do with the workload and the fulfillment of losing half my team. Now it's all gone. There's no way one person can fulfill all this. There's no way anyone could have done all this. So basically, I ended up having to refund about $60,000 or $70,000 in rightfully owed money. At the time, there was some pretty bad people that, I didn't know they were bad at the time. I just didn't know that they were just this kind of person. But they saw me going through all that, as well as like a situation that had happened just, a month prior that I'll explain in a second, that they ended up filing for chargebacks for everything that we had done for them. Like, we're talking things that like they were literally utilizing. Some of these motherfuckers had shit still on our servers that we were supporting. So they just saw an opportunity to either fuck me over on purpose, or maybe they were down bad and hurting and they needed the money, and they figured that they needed the money more than I did, whatever it was. But they saw that there was really no way for me to combat this. Like, what was I going to do? Take them to fucking court over, 10 grand each. So it's like, like I said, 30, 40 grand that ended up getting charged back. So I'm out like $100,000 in the blink of an eye. And it was rough. Some of the money I didn't know like really where it was going to come from, because I had already paid these 2 teams that were now out. And so it was quite terrifying. And that wasn't just it. Then I got faced with I don't know the exact number. It's either somewhere around $120,000 or $150,000 from someone that was basically trying, it was a scare tactic, or it was, maybe he was just trying to see if I would roll over. But I had a client of ours that was obviously worth, high 6 figures for us, basically filed a lawsuit and was suing me for all the services that we had rendered. And so I had to go through, in the midst of all this, literally having genuinely lost $100,000 like cash in the bank, 70 to refunds because they were rightfully owed, and then 30 to chargebacks. Now I'm sitting with another $120,000, $150,000 in a lawsuit on my lap. And I'll just remember being in the room. Heather was cooking. I'm sitting on our like love seat, and I'm just crying. Like, my head's straight. I'm not looking any type of way because I heard Lottie come in, and like I didn't want her to see me crying. So I just like tried to keep a straight face. I just I was silent, like but tears were coming straight out of my mouth, or out of my face. Like, I'm looking dead straight, staring into nothing. I can see Lottie coming in, blurry in my peripheral because the tears are in my eyes, and I just can't stop them from coming. And she just came and grabbed my face, and she was like, "Daddy, why are you crying, Daddy? Everything's going to be okay. And I don't know how she said it or like why, but clearly like Heather in the other room had heard her, because I could hear Heather cooking, and then I could hear like the spoon or the whatever it was she was using to stir or scoop or whatever, I hit the side of the skillet or the bowl, whatever it was. So I could hear her like abruptly stop. And she came in and like she just wrapped her arms around me and held me, and like I lost it, just sit there like crying my eyes out because I just didn't know what to do. Like it was a big like why me, like why did this happen to me moment, because I was not like mentally strong enough to be like, okay, why is this happening for me? I wasn't really there yet. And so I go through this process of reading this fuck face's lawsuit threat, and I realized that like he didn't have, like, it was all bullshit. It was just, again, another one of these people trying to take advantage. And so as I went through, I literally like printed everything off with hand and paper and like highlighted everything, and I marked everything off that like he was claiming we did not provide, did not do. And so I had all my facts, I had all my evidence, and I basically showed him exactly how we did and fulfilled everything. And I sent it back to him and his attorney and CC'd my attorney on it. And that was it. It was just literally like bad people trying to do bad people things. And that's when I was like, holy shit, like this is what God wanted. Like he wanted me away from all this like negativity. He wanted me away from all this toxicity, because, this whole time I'm like I was thinking that I was doing the right things. Like I thought I was scaling appropriately. I thought, as a part of this mastermind that was like kind of teaching me some of these things. So I thought. And so like, I thought I was like following the instructions. I thought I was like, being a good steward, a good student. And so like, I was like really confused on why all this shit was happening. And the next thing through part of this like lawsuit threat, once I put my dick on the table and proved every accusation to be incorrect, and the evidence and the proof, and literally showing them that half the shit they were saying we didn't do was live. I could literally look it up, pull it up, type in the URL, and there it was. Anyways, they started blaming everything on, my previous ex-CEO at the time. And then it all comes out to light that they're in cahoots together, working together behind my back. So it was just a whirlwind of things that had happened. And I still was not dead set on like truly understanding what the lesson was, because like I was seeking something. I was seeking validation, if you will. I was seeking camaraderie. I was seeking a brotherhood, a family. I don't know really what it was, but like I saw so much potential in people and so much opportunity when things would arise from like a visionary standpoint, where I was like, it makes so much sense to me. Like, why can't we all succeed and grow together? So I say all that to pull us back right before this book launch, and say that like I was a part of this mastermind group, and I was growing inside of it at a rapid pace. I think officially I was in a total of 13 months, I think. 13 months or something like that. But around month 9 was like, I think when there was a lot of, this dude is getting too much attention too quickly, because I ended up winning 2 awards through this organization that had thousands of members. And I can't remember exactly how long they had been around for, like officially like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, somewhere around 5 to 9 years, I believe. And so I'm at this award ceremony because I got invited, because I won some awards unbeknownst to myself. And so I'm there with all the rest of the nominees. I'm there with all the staff, the owners and whatnot. In fact, got invited to sit at the owner's table. And it was a cool moment for me, because like mind you, this is right before the book launch and all this stuff. Cause like I'm on my way. Like at this point, my book's already been sent to the formatter, all this was done. It had already been approved by the publisher, already gone through the formatting. Like we were just sitting waiting for KDP to approve it for Amazon. And at this award ceremony, and I did not know that I had won 2 of these awards. So the first award that I received, it was really cool because, I was nominated with a bunch of guys or people that had been in the organization for quite some time. And here I am only, 9 months into it. And so I got my award and I was stoked. Like, that's what I was like, fuck yeah, that this is what I'm here for. I've earned this. I've worked my ass off. I followed all the instructions. Like, I'm listening to the education of the leader of this group, and I'm literally like fucking tit for tat, step by step. I'm mirroring everything that was being taught. And then all of a sudden, the most prestigious award came up, and I was not ready for that because they started naming off the nominees. Or it wasn't nominees, but this was the only award. I think 4 of us or 5 of us won. I'd have to count their names, and I don't want to do that online because it'll give away the organization. But it was 3 or 4 of them, and then me. And the 3 or 4, the rest of them had been involved in this organization before the organization was even a real organization. And then there's me 9 months in. And the award was the biggest impact on the community. And so, like, for me, I was like, man, this is incredible. Like, I'm doing it. I'm learning these lessons. And I'm, like, in my head, I think I'm building this business the correct way. Because I get into this, like, networking group, this business association. I'm learning how to do business the way business owners do business. And I was like, and I'm getting awarded for a lot of the things that I came here to improve upon. Part of which being a part of the community, which was something that I was so desperately seeking. And so here we are. I win the 2 awards. I was the only person to win 2 of the awards. One of the awards was the largest, honor in the organization. And I thought like I had found my people. And in between that moment and then my book launch was 4 months, because that was from the 9 month to my 13-month exit. Or I lied. It was 6 months because that was in November, I think. And then April was my book launch. But in there, a month before the book launch is when like kind of shit really hit the fan. Throughout this organization, I had gotten involved with a business owner. I don't really want to call him that, but a business owner who was supposedly doing really good stuff. And the leader of this community was like, hey, y'all need to do some work together. I think that y'all could really make a lot of money together and help other people make a lot of money together. And I was like, fuck, that sounds incredible. Like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And then in turn, a lot of our homies end up with some really cool investments. And so we got involved. And that was kind of part of the worst thing about being good at marketing, I guess, is when the better you get, especially the ones that have the means to take advantage, see an opportunity to utilize that for bad and not good. And that's another thing that we will get into on this episode. So here I am being introduced to this guy, and I was like, fuck yeah, like I hear you out. It makes sense to me. This product that you're selling, like, this is what I sell other people. Like, so this is something I can speak the lingo. I understand the format. I can see the ROI based on the business model that you have. And it was my fault because I did not do any other due diligence other than just the introduction from this person that I had looked up to. That's my fault as the sword that I've had to fall on since then. And we got to work, and we ended up working together for 11 weeks before I decided to put a pause on things. And we ended up doing $1.2 million in sales with this organization before in 12 weeks or 11 weeks, actually, before I realized like we might want to give them a break and let them start fulfilling on some of these promises. And let's just say I, as lately as today, have had conversations about this situation. Like, it is still something that a wrong that I am trying to force or help these people make right. This isn't easy. This isn't fun. This has been a fucking nightmare. But I'm still trying to seek some sort of compensation. And yeah, it's compensation, but like I want people to be made whole. That's all I want. I want good people to do business with good people, and I want people to do business the right way. Like, I just want people to do the right thing. And so here I am dealing with this person that I had been connected to not. So much so to the point where I literally got on a staff call with them, and they wanted to bring me in as a CTO because I told them exactly how to solve the problem. And they ended up basically laughing me out of the Zoom meeting once I told them how much it would cost for me to come and solve this $1.2 million problem for them, plus, continual growth once the solution is made. Anyways, they wouldn't have it. They wouldn't do the right thing. And this person was the premier sponsor of this networking group that I was involved with. They were the annual sponsor. They sponsored the largest event, so they were like the title sponsor. They were also the highest level. The whole staff was the highest level of tier in this organization. And then the owner of the business also paid the leader of this organization to be his one-on-one coach. So I went to the leader of the organization. I was like, hey man, like, we have an issue. This person that you introduced me to is not doing what the fuck they say they were going to do. And I'm not here to tattle on them, but like, at some point there has to be some sort of accountability. Like, they are paying you for coaching. I'm just asking you to coach them. Just coaching them into doing the right thing. And at the time, like I said, we did like 1.4 million in sales for them. At the time, they were somewhere around that $600,000 and $700,000 invested into this organization, into this networking group. So I basically got hushed. And so it took a few months of me going back and forth, honestly, like from one closed door to another, because no one wanted to hear it. And it got bad. I was losing sleep over it. I was, getting fucking death threats over it. And it was just a bad situation. So I ended up saying enough was enough. I went to an event in Dallas, Texas, where this person was at this person's event speaking on stage yet again because he paid to be there and be a sponsor, and pitching the same bullshit. And my phone blew up constantly. Why is this motherfucker on stage? Why has he not done what he said he was going to do? Why is so-and-so letting them on their stage? It was just this entire nightmare. So I was already burnt to the end. And then my wife, daughter, and I drove immediately from that event to Memphis, Tennessee, because my best friend of 20 plus years was getting married. And so I'm there trying to block out all this distraction, all this noise, and have a good time with this dude that I've literally grown up with. And we go out, and I had some friends approach me at the bar that we were at, and they're like, hey man, like, your name's not too hot around here right now, bro. Like, there's a lot of people that trusted you and that grew up with you and that have been a part of your life since It's What We Do, since the wreck, that have supported you all along the way. And you basically got them to sign up for this dude's offer his product, and doesn't seem like a smart choice, because here you are marketing this dude's business. We all buy it because we like you, we know you, we trust you. This dude's not doing what he said he was going to do, and you're flying around on private jets and staying in mansions and speaking on stage. And that was, dude, that fucking broke me. I mean, it absolutely crushed me. I couldn't sleep that night over it. And Heather woke up the next morning. We're laying in bed. She rolled over to cuddle with me, and she could just see me on my phone, just tap, 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 tap. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm spilling the beans. I'm blowing the whistle. I'm coming clean over all of it." So I made this huge long post, and I basically just told the truth about everything. And I apologized immensely for being involved with it. And I mean, dude, it was up for less than an hour. It's like 300 something comments. I'm getting blown up left and right by this dude's COOs. Everyone's blowing me up, and now it's a fucking problem because it got put out there. And that was like when I really, the wool had, that covering my eyes got pulled back, and I got to see some wolves in sheep clothing, and see who some of these people really were. And that crushed me even more, because like I really wanted to look up to them. I thought one of them was a mentor of mine. Like I thought I could really learn how to be successful from this person, and it was tough. And so I'm telling you all of this because, and it'll all make sense here in a little bit, but like through this process, this motherfucker had wrote the foreword to my book. His name was in my book all throughout. My book might as well had been a fucking lead magnet for his organization, because like I cared about it so much. Like I cared about the community. I met really fucking good people in this community, and I wanted to help. Like I wanted to give other people that were looking for something like I was the chance to get involved and to experience some of the good things that I experienced from it. But I was so brokenhearted that when you get to the top of the spear, that it was so corrupt, and so it was all about the money. And so I was broken. And so this motherfucker didn't even have the balls to talk to me about it. He went straight to my publisher and said if his name was found in my book or any association, that he would sue me and the publisher. And I mean, it was just this entire fucking nightmare. And so all of that had happened a month prior to writing the book, so much so that the publisher was like, "Hey, I have to pull you from publishing." She's like, "You're going to have to self-publish, because there's literally not enough time to go through and edit this book, get it to formatting, get it back from formatting, get it submitted to KDP, and launch it by your date." Because I was dead set on April 13th. And I said, "You'll have it in your email in the morning." So I stayed up all night, not rewriting the whole fucking book, but basically rewriting the entire book. I've got I have it documented somewhere how many times like his name or his business association's name or some sort of like likeness was involved. And it was a fuck ton. But I got it done, got it sent over to him, and submitted it. And that was like, all of this happening was like a real monumental shift in me seeing some of the other information that I had been given by some true mentors, those stars to align. Because throughout my involvement in that organization, I had met some incredible human beings. And these are human beings that I looked up to, more than they'll never know. One of which is no longer with us. Major shout out to Dr. B. Yeah, that dude, I owe a lot to him. lot of conversations, just a lot of involvement. There's a lot that is, I still can't take him off. Like I got him on like Google Drives and attached to email chains and in my CRM. I can't take him out, but I owe a lot to him and two other men that from all areas of life you would consider these people were wealthy people. Not saying that they were, one of them's a billionaire, but not saying they're all billionaires. You know, because it's not all about the money, but you would look at all of them and said they were wealthy, and they're all multi-millionaires. You know, so they do have the financial aspect of this stability and support and insurances and investments and securities and all that. Like, so the financially, but we're talking like mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, like health, wealth, relationships. Like they knew how to make money. They knew how to save money. They knew how to save time. Like these are just very fucking well-rounded people that like I believe anyone in the world could sit down with them and then just have a good, genuine conversation. But it's going through all of this that some of their words just repeated themselves over and fucking over and fucking over and over and over and over and over again, that I finally just, I heard it. I finally heard it. And it's basically along the lines of, you know, if they had started pouring into people sooner, they would have gotten further faster. And that's not a statement for me to say that, oh, like I'm going to take advantage of people by being a good person to them so that way I can get tenfold back. It's not that. But if you start to really break down to some of these people that you look up to and that you hear some of the common denominators and the messaging that they talk about, it fucking makes sense, right? And I think it was Zig Ziglar, but don't hold it, you know, against me if it's not. But there's a quote out there that says, if you help enough people get what they want, they will help you get what you want. And again, it's not for me about like, how do I use other people to get what I want selfishly. It's like understanding this communal aspect of growth. You know, I've talked about it openly, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse here on like the whole point of Uncaged is like this, you know, none of us are better than all of us. Like, you know, the better the you know, when it comes to like 1% better daily, and like not only that, but like the communal like leverage of all of us getting better daily, right? Like the better we all become individually, the better we will be collectively, and the better we become collectively, the better we will be individually. And so you start to really take into consideration from all this stuff. And I was like staring up in the fucking heavens. I'm like, God, what is this lesson? Like, why are all these people burning me? And like, I in my soul, like, I feel like I'm a good person and I'm doing good. And every time I get to this highest peak, like I get just destroyed back down. And that's when I realized like I can't do it all myself, and it's not supposed to be me. And this was like the real just gut wrenching understanding of what had to be done because of these three mentors of mine, because I had seen all this like just negativity and toxicity in this like business development networking world. And, you know, there was a lot of extreme ownership that had to be taken because, you know, there's maybe it's a 3 strike and a 3 strike because, you know, if I look back, you know, I told you guys that, you know, my team embezzling money was my 2nd strike. And then the CEO and his team walking out with one of my clients, you know, was the 3rd strike. But when I had just started my, you know, original business that I entered private sector with, my right-hand man, I don't know what it was. Why? We were making fucking good money. I was paying him $20,000 a month, you know, like in a very short amount of time. Like we had launched the business, we had shaken hands on it, we got everything on paper, And then we moved forward. He wasn't a partner, but he was, an employee. And I mean, the business grew. I mean, we doubled year over year over year. And I mean, he was making good money, but I don't know what it was. And, I look at internally for an extreme ownership. I laughed about it actually just today with a buddy of mine who owns a successful business. Is like, I'm clearly the fucking problem, like hiring the wrong people, not training them correctly, giving them too much reins, giving them too much information, whatever it is. And that's the problem. Is like, it's not ever that I want to suppress people or hold people back. But there's definitely a very different situation when these people literally steal from you, because the burn one was this dude who was my right hand man through the very beginning of it. And not like, again, emotionally I'm attached because we survived. Not only did we survive, but we thrived through the thing that crushed a lot of businesses back in 2020, 2021, and some in 2022. We thrived through that. And like, that was my first real push at a real business. If you know my whole story, you know about it's what we do. And that was great and all, but I don't really consider that a real business like this one. Like this one, we were making real fucking money up to the end of it. We were doing $250,000 a month, which isn't a lot of money to some people. But for me, it was a huge proof of concept. And to see us literally to the fucking number for 4 years in a row, double year over year over year over year, I was like, we're actually doing this. Like, we know what we're doing. But then boom, I got burned by the first guy. And then boom, I got burned by the team embezzling the $20,000. And then boom, I didn't mention this earlier, but not only did they leave with that one, high 6-figure client, but they left with multiple of them. And so here I am, like, what is this? Like, why me? And throughout this like journey of like truly understanding why was it that I was getting involved with these people, and we were seeing so much success so quickly, early on, that it opened me up to being taken advantage of. And then you look on the other side of things, another way I got burned 3 full times is like, I feel like I need to make a post about this, like, because now that Uncaged is growing the way it is, and it's being detached from Zack Williams, because that's part of this like lesson here, is like, this isn't about me, this is about us. But like, I don't genuinely think that anyone, there's only a few reasons why anyone can say anything negative about like Zack Williams. At least I hope so. And I would be very fucking interested to hearing why someone would not like me, so that hopefully I can find a solution to that problem, or see if I can improve in that area of my life, or just unfortunately tell them to go fuck themselves, because that's a them problem. But we got involved throughout all of this process and success in my previous organization with this gentleman, and we had these investments. He saw the marketing agency doing really well, asked if we could come in and market in his company. And so we did, and we started promoting it pretty heavily. And it was, from what it seemed on paper great. And again, this was something, that made sense to me. Like, this was kind of in my industry. And so we started raising some money for it, and ended up, this dude literally, it was a scam. Same thing. I got introduced to them by someone that I actually looked up to, that if I mentioned their name, like, a bunch of us would actually know who they were. And again, this is where the issue comes, is like putting faith in people. And I'm like, man, if they fucking know them, like them, trust them, whatever, then so can I, right? And it's like, I fucking learned this in marketing, like, and so I go throughout this process, and I was green at the time. Like, I was really hungry to want to change the world and give back to people, because I'm seeing all these people become successful through their investments. And I was like, this looks incredible. Like, how do we do this? So we got involved, and this dude went on a run. I mean, I talk about it in my book some, but like, he had a number attached to his head. I don't know if he's still around or not, but there are people actively hunting this man. And unfortunately, he brought that evil upon his wife and child too. So, I went through that experience, and man, I was crushed. I mean, myself, I lost, over $100,000 involved in that. But like more than that, like I wrote that off. Like it was a learning lesson. It fucking sucks. I'd love to have that money back. Could do a lot with that money to help people truly. But friends and family, that I care about, again, nowhere near as much as the other deal. But I mean, I'd say collectively there's another $100,000 broken down to probably about 20 people that got involved in that one. And it hurts, man. It hurts to think about. And then through that process, again, because of some of the results we've seen in some other space, we started getting involved in some of the Amazon stuff. And that one we did good with. I say we did good with. We had some people that saw some really great early onset success, because that was kind of my thing, is like trust but verify now. Heard some really good information about this person, learned a lot of information about the platform itself with Amazon and everything that they were doing. And we got involved with that. And one of those clients, we did do like, $3.5 million or so with that organization. And everything was going well until the platform itself rug pulled. Amazon ended up changing a bunch of their terms and conditions. And, I love Amazon for what it is. And I think if you study them from a business aspect, it's an incredible situation that they have developed it into from a business standpoint. But unfortunately, not everything that they say is 100% truth. And the fact that like they care about the little person, if you look at any of the Amazon basics, those are all products that, someone like my mom or grandmother or dad or uncle, is like in their fucking spare bedroom or basement or garage making these products or building this small business. And as soon as they find out that this is successful, Amazon can come in and they can undersell you, and they can sell at a loss for years until they choke you out and take over market, and then they can bump. I mean, I'm not going to get into all of it, but that was my real life view, that there are some things out of your control that there's nothing you can do. And so anyways, we experienced that boom and fail. I've got my own personal feelings and experiences with that industry. Again, lost a lot of money in that. And then lastly, the gentleman that I had met, through this previous business organization. So I say all that to say that, throughout this process, I'm taking huge hit after huge hit after huge hit. And I genuinely, I welcome it. That if you know of someone that dislikes me, I would like to have a conversation with them to see how we can find a solution to the problem. If you know someone that believes that I hurt them, I want to have that conversation, because as we build Uncaged, I don't ever want Uncaged to suffer from anything that anyone believes I personally have done or Uncaged having any association with me, because Uncaged isn't about me. Uncaged is about the members. And that's what we're seeing time and time again with the relationships that we're creating, with the people that we see coming in. In fact, the reason I don't know why I saved this for the last episode. I know this is the longest episode we've had, and will be the longest episode to my knowledge. But this is the last episode where it's going to be just me, because this isn't about me. This is about the members. So you're going to be seeing more interviews with the members. And eventually I'd like to see where we spotlight just the members. I don't need to have any association here. I'm not hiding from anything. I'm easy to find. I'm open to having the hard conversations, because at the end of the day, all I want to do is improve myself and my family's life, as well as our legacy. But Uncaged is more than Zack Williams. This hasn't been built to promote me. I did the whole personal brand thing, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the t-shirts, got the books, got the, stage speeches. I love it. And I love pouring into other people. But for me, I like seeing Uncaged change lives. And that's what we're seeing. And so, I go through this whole process because I wanted to really, truly step into this next chapter of Uncaged life. We're in our 3rd year now. We have a huge team behind us now. We got, thousands of members in the free group, hundreds of members in the VIP group. We have our own, we have regions now. We have, quarterly retreats. We have entire teams on the back end that are helping with content creation and marketing, sales, CRMs, and automations. We got people donating their time. We have pack leaders. It's wild to me to see how much growth we've had in just the first 2 short years. And for me, this is now time to hand over reins to the members and truly see Uncaged make it to that next chapter that it deserves. Because, for me, I'm just one person, and I might be really good at 3 or 4 things. And I might have, we'll round up a little bit and call it 20 years of experience. But when we start attaching that with, the community is really good at 800, 1,000 different things, that has endless, centuries worth of education and knowledge and wisdom in all areas of life. You start to realize how little you truly are. But then when you start to get involved in an organization like this and hear some of the stories of what a single person can do impacting one-on-one at a micro level, you get to really see the strength that you have to offer. But it comes from this opportunity of wanting to help another versus you wanting other people to help you. So that's been a big part of this episode, and why, I don't want to say I came clean about anything. My conscience is clear. I go to sleep easily every night, and I wake up excited every morning because I know that we are actively working on improving every aspect of our life, members' lives. We are, no one, again, and I challenge this, if you genuinely think that I've done anything wrong, do you come to me, come say it to my face, and let's find a solution to it. Because, I have not vindictively been evil to anyone. I have not wronged anyone for any reason, maliciously. I have not, in the previous organization, was there a lot of shit that went down under either my hand, my CEO's hand, any of my other staff's hand, where things didn't go the way that we wanted? Absolutely. I've paid a lot of people back out of my own pocket because that's what I care about. And we even shut that organization down to build Uncaged to what it deserves, because I realized that all the information and education and lessons that I learned up to this fucking point, I now understand why. And it's because I can take the lessons that I learned and pour them on to other people. Because the thing is, I would not be where I am today if other people had not taken me under their wing, had not poured into me. So who am I to dam up that flow of knowledge? That's the whole reason this entire journey has been documented, and we've done our best to be as authentic, transparent, and vulnerable every step of the way, because it hasn't been easy. I can't tell you how rough it was mentally, and this has nothing to do with what we think from anyone else. Okay, maybe some, but it was more so the feeling of having made it and then lost it all. Heather and I, we had our dream cars. We were traveling literally every month, just experiencing these things, different memories. We could do whatever we wanted. We were making more money than we ever had been. I think the last year that we had everything operational, we took home $800,000 personally in our personal bank accounts. And then we ripped the Band-Aid off. We listened to the mentors, and we decided we didn't want to learn these lessons or have to start over with an extra 0 attached to it, or an extra 0 attached to Lottie's, age. We burned it all down and started over when Lottie was 4. I didn't want her to be 14 when we were learning these lessons. We were looking ahead. We understood. If you haven't been through the 30-day challenge, a big piece of that 30-day challenge is the lessons that I've learned through this transformation. And this was our ikigai. We prayed about it. We talked about it. We cried about it. We laughed about it. We sucked guidance. Oh, we went and sought guidance from our mentors, people that we cared about, people that we love, people that, you know, that we truly admire from an ethical and moral standpoint. And we decided to go all in on this. And, you know, as we shut everything down, we went from taking home $800,000 to 80, you know, traded in the dream cars, you know, downsized, you know, went from an awesome house to an apartment. Like, we really truly started over. And now what y'all are getting to experience is, I mean, I get excited about it, but like, this is us living our dream life. You know, we're 2 years into this now. We're in our third year, but 2 full years completed. You know, Unleashed is launching, Uncaged is thriving. We're growing. The teams are incredible. The members are incredible human beings. And that's what we are stepping forward into, is getting away from Zack being the face of things and being, it being the Zack show, to this being us. So this next evolution in the channel, it's still going to be this journey to the top 1%. And, you know, how do we get there? It's by becoming 1% better daily. But this is me getting 1% better daily, is involving more of you guys, more of the members, and more of the stories, because that's where the true information is. Because we have members from all different walks of life, all different personalities, all different personas, all pouring into each other. And that's what's so beautiful and makes this so much stronger and better than just me, is when you look at having hundreds of guys in the VIP group all looking and saying, how can I add value to the group? How can I pour in and raise the average of the group? How can I go out of my way to ensure that the group is successful? When you have hundreds of people all looking on doing this, here you are locked arms with the rest of the community, and you're putting 1% of you in, but you're receiving hundreds of percents back. Like, you're the 10-fold, 20-fold, 100-fold of what you put in is what you receive back, because now you have hundreds giving you that same respect and opportunity. So be looking for some really cool things happening inside of Uncaged. You know, the Uncaged calls are incredible. The group chats are insane. The private groups are amazing. I mean, there's nothing like the retreats. The regional meetups are badass. There's so much coming down the pipe. We have, and fuck, I can't believe I waited till all the way to the end of this to mention this, but one of the big reasons I mentioned the book is just, it's such a huge part of this story and that needed to be told on this channel. But we're actually rewriting it because of everything that happened, and adding in so much that we learned, and talking about, you know, really pushing towards Uncaged, because that was developed and marketed for my previous organization. But that's not what my life was not for that. My life was not meant for that. You know, you hear me talk about, you know, what I was born to do and what I was kept on this earth to do. I wasn't kept on earth to write that version of the book. So we're rewriting it now as we speak. We're writing the 30-day challenge journal. Those will both be out soon. Like, there's so much that we're developing inside of Uncaged. And I just wanted this fucking channel to be the journey of all of it. All the ups, all the downs, all the good, all the bad, all the ugly. This channel is, you're getting inside view on how we're doing it. And that's what I wanted to provide you. So as we move into this next chapter, we start interviewing members and getting them involved. I want you to truly hear them, because this is where the power is you might listen to one of these episodes that's, you know, 25, 30, 35 minutes long, and there might only be one nugget that you take. It might be. There probably will be more. But that one fucking nugget that you get from these people is what's going to change your life forever. And that's what we're looking for, is to bring information like that and make it as accessible to as many men as possible. That is the mission that Uncaged is on. We are rooted in accountability, and we are trying to help the world become better at health, wealth, and relationships, and learn how to make more money, save more time. So if you like this, if you want to get involved, reach out to myself, any of the pack leaders, any of the team members. I'm here to help. I want to be Uncage's #1 support team member. So like, I'm here to support you and other members in any way possible. So if you need anything, please reach out, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.